Welcome, everybody. Thank you for tuning in to Inside The Crease. I am Sean from Fast Break Lacrosse, and today we have a great guest. We actually have two guests. You probably have seen a lot of his work across a lot of social media platforms. He was actually, we were just talking about this earlier, he was my first guest on one of my vlogs probably 2 or 3 years ago. We'll get into that. But all the way from San Diego, California, guys, Shane from Lax Zombie. How you doing, brother?
Good, man. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely, man.
It's great to be here. I'm excited. I'm excited for you, really, that you've come back and continued pursuing what you've been wanting to do for a long time.
I appreciate that. Yeah, just lacrosse has always been a sport that I've played out here in Vegas for a long time, and I came back.
Yeah, I'm excited. I've always been supportive of you, but anybody who tries to pursue something that they love and they want to do, and always told you, just don't give up on it. Don't give up on it. It'll happen. You just got to put the work into it. It's sacrifice. Nothing comes easy. So
100%.
How much are you willing to sacrifice to pursue what you want to love and do?
Absolutely, 100%. Now, if for all the people that don't, I guess, aren't into lacrosse or don't know who Lax Zombie Dyes is, or Shane from Lax Zombie, do you mind explaining kind of what you do with your company and what helps with lacrosse to kind of grow it and everything like that?
Yeah, so I first started out really kind of with the idea of doing some accessories in lacrosse.
That's right, because you came out with the little ball stops, right?
Came out there first ball stops, and that's kind of how I started. And I got into that idea by doing some stuff on the side through just finding out that these heads could be dyed. I was like, oh, that kind of sounds interesting, as my son was starting to play. And but the thing that always bothered me the most was the stupid ball stop. So I came out with the idea of creating our own. And obviously, I needed a company name and a brand behind that.
That's pretty much the hardest part right there, is starting it, right? Kind of get your name out there.
And that's kind of where Lax Zombie Dyes kind of came through. I just like the idea of, I've always liked Halloween and zombie movies, and we had a huge haunted house some years ago, and kind of like, just kind of based on that theme, I felt like at that time the kids were really into zombies and
because you go out. I've seen a lot of your Instagrams and like posts and stuff, your decoration lights on Christmas or Halloween stuff.
So
you go all out.
I love the holidays. I just think it's a special time of the year for reflection and family and stuff, and so I kind of wanted it based on that, but then the colors too, so I always wanted to create the motto of my company is don't be a zombie, customize your game.
There you go. I love it.
And so we wanted to create it to where kids can just start really playing with their own personalities out there and whatever sticks they wanted to do. So the colors and the vibrancy and so that's kind of what we came up with Lax Zombie Dyes.
And then because you were in the Navy or still in the Navy?
I was in the Navy in San Diego,
And did you so you went down to San Diego. Where did you come from to?
So I grew up in Washington State.
Okay. And is that where you got into lacrosse, or did you start doing it in San Diego? Or?
Yeah, so the number 2 questions I always get from doing all this now is did I play lacrosse? Yep. And then was I an artist? Like an art degree or something? And then both answer those are no.
No, it's all just self-taught, learn.
So what's crazy is that, the Northwest is a huge Native American culture up there, and we just never had lacrosse. At least in that whole area that I grew up in, Portland, Vancouver area. I'm sure a couple teams probably had it in Seattle, but that was a good 3 hours away from where we live. So so once I graduated high school, I joined the Navy, and I'd heard about lacrosse because you work with a lot of East Coast people, but never had seen a game, never had been at a game until probably, fast forward 20 years later. My son got invited to a lacrosse camp in the summertime, and I asked him if he wanted to go check it out, and we're like, yeah, let's go check it out. And so within the first 5 minutes,
you have to see it to experience it, right?
I felt like I was robbed of my childhood almost. Like, it was like, are you kidding me? This is a sport. Like, this is the best thing I've ever seen.
Exactly.
As the sport goes. And I love football. Football has always been a passion, as a lot of people as they grow up playing football, but dude, I would have loved a chance to play lacrosse.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and I was grateful to do it out here in Las Vegas, but we started off, like I was saying earlier, just small, couple schools here and there, and then I got to high school, still the same thing, but now it's every high school, every little school, every club. It's grown a lot. And then, again, like I said, guys, he's got his son's Nash here. Nash, when did you start getting into lacrosse? Is that when the summer camp? Or
Yeah, that was my first time. Probably like, was it 4th grade?
Fourth?
Yeah.
It was like the summer of his 3rd grade year or something like that.
Yeah. And how'd you like it? Like the first year, it was a whole different experience.
I played baseball.
Okay.
So like all my life, so all my friends were always like, just play baseball because like, lacrosse isn't like that popular more than baseball.
Yeah.
So, but as soon as I went to lacrosse, it's way better.
It's a whole different sport, huh? It's definitely, and it's, I guess, a hit and miss, and it's probably good for you too, Shane. Like watching your kid playing lacrosse, people say it's like such a brutal sport, the sticks, and you're getting hit and checked and all this stuff, but in reality, it's like they have the pads, like, yes, some checks and stuff like that are crazy. Like, no, don't be throwing those kind of checks. Yeah. But seeing it as a parent, like, how was that for you? Like the first time, like, I mean, nothing going crazy. Have you ever been injured or anything like that during the game of lacrosse?
No, not really.
Nothing like serious.
Yeah.
See, and that's good. That's way the sport's supposed to play.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, there's some people out there that are just going to hurt, and a lot of football players come over to lacrosse, and all they want to do is just hit. So it's a whole different thing. But like I said, as a parent, like how was that for you watching your kids play?
I was fine with it because I grew up playing football. I was a big wrestler in high school. Wrestled a little bit after high school in the Navy a little bit, and so I love the physical sports, the contact sports, and so that was for me. It was fine, and there's some not as many pads, so you do get hit, you get banged up.
Yeah,
but I was fine with it. My wife wasn't so fine with it for a while. But with all that being said, it's really a finesse sport too, as much as it is physical. So you get these guys that can just handle the rock so good in their stick, and it's such a finesse game with the attackmen. So it's as much that as it is the physicalness of it.
That, and then if you have watched, obviously I'm sure you have, for all the people that don't really follow lacrosse or anything, it's two different, I would say, games to watch a indoor game, a box game, compared to a field game. Like it's two opposite things. Like people, when they go watch a field game, you have the long poles, the defense, the goalies, and all that, the bigger cages and everything like that. Not as physical, I would say. It's still a physical game, but when you go and watch a box game, it's a whole different story. Like people are getting beat up. There's fights. I'm just like,
it's
wow.
just like watching hockey indoors.
Correct.
I mean, 100. I mean, the game's so similar to hockey. So, and that's why it's so popular in Canada and all that stuff. Is those guys, they go from playing hockey to indoor, and it's they just get beat. I mean, it's brutal. I mean, I love it. I love getting out there getting beat up. Like we talked a little bit earlier.
Correct.
I came into the game so late, but I enjoy being out there and playing now, and even and when guys know who I am, or like I didn't play, like they're more likely to help coach you up while you're playing against them.
Absolutely.
And that's the one thing I love about the lacrosse community.
Absolutely.
It's just like that the whole time.
Yeah, it is a big sport, and I would say it's more like a family sport thing too, because like when your kids and everything, like just tournaments, like the Sandstorm tournament, like how was the turnout there?
The Sandstorm tournament this year was the biggest it's ever been.
See,
it was crazy.
It's growing, and I love
it.
that.
I almost wish they would make it into a 3-day tournament, which it'd be hard for me not to believe that it's going to grow into that.
Okay.
Make somewhat of like a festival out of it, because
I wouldn't doubt it.
They had 455 teams this year.
Jeez, and that's ranging from what, middle school all the way up to high school, or?
Yeah, I think the lowest. Well, no, they go down to
the
like,
clubs
like
too,
the
like
club,
lower?
like fourth, fifth grade level, fourth grade level.
Wow.
And then they had 75 or 77 fields spread out across.
How much like land is this whole?
So it's done in Indio, and it's done where they hold Coachella. So it's at the Empire Polo Grounds.
Okay.
And as far as you can see, you just see lacrosse nets.
Gotcha.
And it's so like they try and I'm sure keep games in the same areas, but like if you have a brother and a sister playing in that tournament,
they're spread out.
You're spread out. You're going 40 field difference, and so people are riding mountain bikes, scooters,
anything electric,
they
or
have those pedal bike guys where you can pay them and they pedal you around over to the
way. Kind of like they have it on the strip out here, just kind of
exactly. And so they travel you around, but it's a really cool event. Tons of people stop by. Say hi from people that follow you, whatever. There's teams there from New Jersey and Minnesota and Texas, Nebraska, and they all come out to play.
Though. That's amazing. And then for the people that don't obviously know, you had a full booth set up and everything like that for all your heads and stringing and apparel. Now you have a lot of stuff going on.
So that's what it's grown into is a full setup now. So we had a full booth out there for 2 days.
Nice.
And to sell, all our custom stuff and apparel. And there's a lot of vendors out there. They have a huge mall.
And that's what I want to go to next year. Like I said, this year I'll just kind of focus on rebranding it, changing the logo just a little bit to make sure everybody is all happy with the same thing, because as you know, with apparel, it gets pricey, and if you're changing things, you're throwing away your old graphics, and it's a lot of money that goes into it. But obviously, there's a lot of awards you've won. You're in with like PAL and everything like now, right? PAL lacrosse.
Yeah.
Before we get, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but before we get into like your successful stuff, let's get into like your first dyes and stuff. Like, how did you start taking in like, hey, I want to start dyeing heads and stringing and doing all that stuff? Because like you said, you started with the ball stops, and then did you start moving into the dyes right after that? Or
yeah, so I got into the ball stops because of dyeing. So
okay,
since he was playing, I wanted to learn kind of just how to string a stick. I guess it just was something that kind of interested me a little bit. And the first thing everyone goes to, right, YouTube. So I went straight to YouTube, started learning, and then which took me to the dyeing portion of it. And I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting too. You can color your stick. I was like, oh, that'd be pretty cool. And so when I started learning kind of how to string, I was like, well, I'm going to try to dye first too. And then that's kind of how I got into the ball stops a little bit.
Okay. So you started with the dyeing first, and then okay, that makes sense. Okay.
And so the dyeing really interested me more so than the stringing at the time. And so I was like, well, I'm just going to dye heads and see if anyone would actually like want any of these. And my first dyes were horrible. I mean,
let's just face it. Everybody that starts off with something, if you don't already know, like you were saying, people think you're coming from like an art background or anything like that. It's trial and error, and it's probably a costly trial and error because of the head and stuff. And I think you were saying before, like if you dye a certain head, you can't re-dye over that, right? Like our certain color or shade or something like that, right? Yeah. So I'm sure it probably took a lot of trial and error.
A lot of trial and error. Like my first, my first dye ever was like, hot glue dye. Yeah.
I think that's everybody, because that was my very first one I tried to.
It's the easiest to go to. Yeah. They look cool. They still look cool today, and but not knowing how to get the glue off, what color shades I would do. I mean, I wish I would have brought my head now. It actually looks really cool, but I still play with it today. Actually, at practice
nice.
time. I put it on a D-pole. It still is good, but that dye probably took me 3 or 4 weeks to finish, because every night my wife's like, what are you doing? I'm peeling glue off, not knowing the tricks and techniques of how to get glue off at the time. And it was just, like you said, it's just trial and error, and it's a hard lesson to learn, and you have to go through it if you want to really achieve, the high standards nowadays that some of these dyers can do. But
so my very first
was a hot glue dye. Gotcha. It was like a 3 or 4 color dye. I just kept dipping it different colors and re-gluing it and dipping in different colors. And then I think I just started doing, and then I started getting on YouTube. I started doing some real simpler ones, like some fades.
Absolutely, yeah.
One color, it's like that.
You got to, like you said, you got to start from the beginning just to work your way up. And we'll get into more of the heads and stuff you guys see here. And like I said, a lot of his awards and where he's at now. But I'm sure this is one thing, like I've always seen, like back in when I was playing in high school, middle school, our things were spray paint. We would spray paint that, or some of our helmets were custom, like airbrushed and stuff. So we were like, this is fire. And then now it's taken off to a whole different.
I've looked at some of there's a lot of things I look at now as techniques, as far as like, hydro dipping and chroming them out and spray paint, airbrush. There's a lot of artistic things. You can do all that kind of stuff.
Wow.
But like from what I've noticed, like, the chrome dipped ones, they chip a lot.
That's what I figured. Yeah, with the spray paint and all that kind of stuff
hydro dip, kind of the same. I feel like the true dyeing is really probably lasts the longest out of them, and they only get scratched up on the back scoop.
The scoop, yeah, right. Yeah. The scoop
So certain colors will fade in the sun, but for the most part, they hold pretty true for a long time.
Absolutely, yeah. I'll show you guys this later. You guys probably have seen this head a lot. That was probably, how many years ago do you think that was? 2, 3 years?
Probably 3 years ago.
Yeah, and I'll show you guys everything here, but it's just that one I've never played. I didn't even want to play with it. It's just to me, like I said, it's an art, and that's why probably people think he's got an art background with just the designs and stuff that he does. Just the technical, there's so much little pieces and stuff on that one. About how long were you doing dyes before you did this one for me? Because this one, like I said, I'm sure it's not your most difficult. I'm sure you've had more, but just all the
probably
detail.
At that point, I'd been dyeing probably 2 years.
Yeah, and that thing came out fire. Because I remember a while ago when I got reached out to try to start selling these heads, and it was a whole different story. So I actually sent Shane one, and he did this whole custom dye and everything. But we'll definitely get more into that. Nash, have you tried doing any dyes or anything like that, or stringing?
Only like half of one. It was with my dad. He wanted me to do one, so I did like a little like what was it, like the webbing, I think it was.
Yeah, like a little marble dye.
Like the glue kind of. Okay.
And I got to dip it in, but like that's the only one I've.
You get kind of get a little nervous, like, I don't want to
I don't want to mess it up. Yeah.
See, and I'm the same way. Like right now, like if I go string a stick, I have to find it on YouTube. Like I can't. Like back in high school and middle school, I had a buddy named Cody Root, and he would always just string my sticks because he was always the perfectionist of stringing, and just the way he had his sticks was always the way I had my sticks. And it's on my fault. I should never have done that, because now when you come and play and you want to fix something, you really don't know what to fix to get it to where you need to be. So like I said, when I do stringing or dyeing, and I did a dye the first time, and it was the hot glue, and like you said, peeling that thing, I didn't know, my fingernails were just about to come off. I was like, all right, this is not fun anymore. I don't know how you guys do it, but yeah, you guys are killing it. So let's talk with your there was a couple the dyes, it's not coming to my head. What were they called? The Dyer Fest? Not the Dyer Fest. The ones where you came in second and third.
The Dyer's Cup.
Dyer's Cup. That's what it is. I'm sorry. Yes. So how did you get into that, or what made you want to enter into that?
So when I started kind of creating my own account, I created an Instagram account. That might have been the first time I was ever even on Instagram.
Oh, so you didn't have any like profiles before that?
No profiles before for my personal. I might have had something, but nothing big. And but when you start searching lacrosse dyes and stringers and stuff, and man, I look back on it now, I was like, man, how naive was I about how many guys were actually dyers and stringers out there. And it was just a whole industry that I would have never ever guessed as a parent in lacrosse.
Correct.
Right? And so the first year I entered the Dyer's Cup, I didn't even get picked. And I was like, okay. You didn't get in. They're like, nice try. And like, come back next year.
Not like, how does that make you feel? Obviously, your success. Well, now that you sit down,
for me, it was motivation. For me, it was motivation.
That's what I was. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I was like, okay, so and then paying attention to it, it was, you got to look at it from the aspect of like, what are you in it for? So for me, it was really like, at that time, I just really felt I wanted something different. I saw an opportunity, especially in the area that we were for lacrosse and how much lacrosse is growing.
Yes.
And I just felt that that someone could do something a little bit different in the industry, and that's kind of how I looked at it.
Yeah.
And not knowing, obviously, the huge uphill battle with as far as being like, I mean, technically I'm a retailer, but I really don't have a brick and mortar store. So, that's a whole nother thing we'll talk about. But so at that time, it was more motivation. And so for me, it was like, okay, how much time am I going to put into this to get good at this?
Now, sorry to stop you there. Is this a thing that's every year, or is it every 6 months?
Every year.
Okay, so it's just once a year kind of deal. So you had a whole year to kind of figure out which, okay.
And there's some other dyeing contests and stuff they do, but I think this is probably the biggest one that I know of. And so I would look at the winners of the past
to see kind of how
or even great dyers now, and I would actually study them like game film is what I would do.
Well, that makes sense. That's how you succeed right there.
So I looked at it as like, I took it upon myself to like how many hours to study somebody's work to see how they did it. And that's kind of how I would try and put a little bit of time every day to figure out how something would be done. And then by doing so, you do kind of build relationships up with other dyers.
Correct.
As your account starts to grow or whatever, people would reach out to you or they're pretty responsive about answering questions. So like one of the first guys I ever met with is a stinking legend, dying as Dandy Dyes.
Okay. Yeah.
He does some incredible work, and I think that might be the first guy I ever talked to on Instagram, and he responded back pretty quickly. I was like, that. Okay. So I've always kept.
Now, was he in the Dyer's Cup, or did he win or anything, or did you just kind of find him?
I kind of just found him. I think he's been in the Dyer's Cup. I don't remember if he's won it or not.
Okay. Yeah.
I think he may have been in it once or twice. But just the fact that, some of the dyers were starting to respond back, I was like, oh, okay, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
These guys who have these big accounts would answer questions or whatever. So I've always tried now in return. Someone asks me a question, I answer every single message I get through Instagram, no matter what.
I'm the same
at the
exact
end of the
way.
night or whatever it is, no matter how many messages I get, I will always try and respond to that person.
100%. I mean, that's what makes companies, I feel like, grateful. Like the other day, like we were just talking about how one gentleman wanted me to share his art, or both of us shared his post because he got a giveaway. And I'm always hands-on with all that kind of stuff. Like I'm always open to anything like that. Every time I've had, like when I did that support the player for Sam, I had another lacrosse company message me and like, hey, I see that you're doing this, but I see that you're your own apparel company. Do you want another apparel company to jump on? I'm like, 100%. Like, I'm not that guy that's like, no, I'm the only lacrosse apparel company. Don't even try to do it. It's like there is so many other companies out there that's trying to do the same thing, and that's what we're all here for, is trying to help grow the game and keep it going. And that's why we're just like you. Every message that comes through, we just absolutely, we'll be more than happy to help out. I always, like I say, every time I get free merch or something like that, I always do free giveaways just to kind of support or give my thank you to everybody that supports us to continue doing what we do. Yeah. So it's awesome to do that.
And that's what it's been like that always. I think the lacrosse community is one of the best communities as far as sports communities go, for sure. And so when we were ready to kind of like, when I felt like I was ready to like see if people would actually want any of my work, I went to an event. I had a picnic table set up with 3 lacrosse heads. That was it. That's all I started this company with. No, nothing It was like a beach canopy.
Yeah.
A picnic table and 3 lacrosse heads, not even strung up. And they weren't even great dyes, but you didn't know at the time.
Exactly.
And so, and all 3 of them sold.
Nice.
And I was like, wow, I can't believe that. And I met a guy there at the event, Isaac from Phantom Lacrosse.
Yes, Phantom. Yeah,
dude, great guy. He lives within 10 minutes of me.
Nice.
I met him there at the event. And he was probably the very first person who I met as far as business aspect in the lacrosse industry. And he's been nothing but grateful and nice ever since to me.
That's awesome.
He's encouraged me 100%. He has seen me grow. I go over to his shop, when I can and chat with him. And I see him at a few events. And I've seen his family grow now. He's had 2 kids since then. And
nice.
So he coaches a high school in San Diego also. And he has been, and the thing he said to me, he goes, you know what, we're not competitors, but because this sport's growing so fast that there's plenty of business to go around.
Yeah.
He goes, people who like my work might not like your work. People who like your work may not like my work.
Exactly, 100%.
And because the artistic aspect of it is everyone's going to be drawn to that type of art that they like. And that hit really good with me because it made me feel good. Like he was really there. He was very genuine about growing. And he was the first person I met, obviously, too, that would like do lacrosse full time. I was like, man, this could really be done full time. And someone like what we do, not a big manufacturer, he was like 100%. So that really motivated me too, that second year of really trying to like think of stuff to take it to the next level.
Correct, for the Dyers Cup, because I know you were saying like when you didn't even get entered into it, that kind of motivates you to kind of go. And then if Phantom's coming out and kind of gets you motivated as well,
for sure.
That has to stack it up to be like, all right, this is next year, this is the year it's going strong.
Yeah.
But like you were saying, like how he was telling you, some people might not like your art, but some people might like his. And
exactly.
Opposite, some might not like his, some might like yours. And same thing with apparel. Like some might not like your colors, but they like other people's. Like, and like you were saying, to me, it's not a competition. I don't try to compete with anybody. I'm just trying to do what I like to do. That's what keeps me going because I'm having fun with it. Not like, oh, okay, he just put that shirt out. Let me go see if I can top that one.
Yeah.
It's like you said, it's a growing game. We're all family. It's just like we're just trying to keep it going and excited. And that's why this whole podcast kind of came together, because I want to bring opportunity like your company, players, coaches, anybody to come through and kind of give that ins and outs of lacrosse, so people who don't even know about lacrosse or want to get into lacrosse can maybe hear this or go watch your videos, my videos, or maybe see us at a tournament or something and be like, hey, I know I know who you are. It's like, and that's the coolest part is like, because just walking around the Vegas Desert Dogs arena, I have so many people coming up to me like, hey, Sean, you're fast break. I'm just like,
it's
dude,
awesome. That feeling.
It makes you like, oh, all right, let me keep going.
Yeah, it motivates you.
Absolutely.
And I've had that happen to me a few times at tournaments. And or if I'm just walking around, obviously they see me at the booth, but if I'm walking around out of the booth and they see something or they want a picture or something, like, it's weird. It's a really weird thing to go through, but it's really cool because you know that you're expanding the game that way. And like for me, I didn't play, so this is my way to get kids involved and excited about playing lacrosse.
Absolutely. All right, so getting back into like when the Dyers Cup, when you got motivated to go back in, so like what was your next step that you wanted to do to come out with something?
Yeah, so the Dyers Cup usually was like the summertime. So this was, let's see, so I've been in the Dyers Cup. I'm trying to think how many times out. 3 times. So this was like two and a half years ago. I got a random, and this is where I really felt like my work like really went to the next level.
Expanding. Okay, yeah, absolutely.
So I got a random text. It said, hey, I want you to dye a head for me. Just a phone number. I was like, okay, cool. Like
no instructions.
Yeah, like no instructions. I'm like, cool. You want to talk? Let me know what you're going. He goes, yeah, I'll call you in 10 minutes. It's like, okay, cool. So I get a phone call.
Calling you about your extended warranty.
Yeah. And it was like, it was, I don't even remember the area code, but it was, so he goes, hey, how's it going? I have a company and I want you to do some lacrosse dyes for me. I'm like, okay, cool. I was like, 1, or he's like, no, I want you to do 10. Oof. I'm like, okay, cool. So
I'm sorry, was this in the beginning of your stages or kind of like towards?
This was right before that year in the Dyers Cup where I took second.
Okay.
So it was like that summer, like probably a couple months before then.
And this was right after they said, no, we don't want your heads coming through. Yeah. And then you got this phone call.
Yeah, I got this phone call. And, by then I'd been posting, more dyes. And some of them were getting better.
Absolutely.
And so I got this phone call. Hey, I want you to do 10 heads for me. And he goes, yeah. I was like, oh, okay, let's get some for you. Oh, my name's Ryan and stuff like that. Oh, that's cool. He goes, yeah, this is Ryan Powell. And for me, it was like, I didn't even click. I was like, yeah, like
did you
whatever.
Register at first? Like,
no, I didn't register who it was. I was like, okay, yeah, whatever. Like, hey, what's going on? And yeah, so we kept talking, and then it clicked. Like, oh, damn, this is one of the Powell brothers.
Yeah,
right? Call me on the phone. And I'm just like, hey,
I guess when did it click? Like, did he tell you like, here, I want you to dye some Powell heads, or like?
Yeah, so he goes, oh, my company, Powell Lacrosse, and then it just clicked. It was like, oh my gosh, dude, are you kidding? I say, hey, Ryan, I was like, I got to stop you here, dude. I was like, I'm sorry, man. I didn't even realize I was talking to you. And so it was really cool. It's, first of all the Powell brothers are super nice.
100%.
Now that
100%.
And so he's real genuine on the phone. We sat and talked for, I don't even know how long it was, 30 minutes. And he had this whole idea of like, which is something that was funny is I thought of when I was dyeing. I'm like, how come these companies don't partner with some of these dyers that are just unreal?
Yeah,
and like
do
just
really
promote
good
you. So
absolutely.
His whole idea was to, and at the time I think they were testing people out for their whole Craftsman's project that we'll talk about. But so he wanted to pick 10 dyers, 10 stringers, and just everyone does 10 heads each, and they just have this huge like custom workshop on their website to launch. And so so I gave him a bunch of dyers that I followed at the time to see if like, hey, he's like, who would you pick? And I was like, well, I picked this guy, this guy, this guy. And some of them were like Corey at CA Ties and Dyes, Jason over at Space City Designs. He does some incredible work. James over at like Seven Hills.
Yep.
So those are kind of people who were like in my little group that we kind of communicated with.
Absolutely.
And then he wanted themed heads. So it wasn't just like, so I was like, well, I'm a veteran. I'm in San Diego. I was like, let me have military theme. And he was like, done. So I did 10 heads that were all military themed out. And that's where I felt like I wanted to do such a good job for them. I felt like that was like where my craft really started to take off.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that was like one. That was. And
well,
that
I think it's like if you just got that phone call, you're pretty much not like, I'm just going to half-ass it or something.
Yeah.
It's like Ryan Powell just called me to dye 10 of his heads.
And I felt like that was the time where I was like, okay, maybe we have something here.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
I really felt like that was the point where I was like, I was kind of like all in at that point. I was like, I'm all in on this. Like, I'm gonna grow this company at that point.
Absolutely.
I was like,
and that's what I'm saying. It takes just like one person to say something, or just a company or something, just to give you that click, and you're just like, all right, I'm all in now. I feel like this is where my foot's in the door. Let's do it,
Yeah.
So it's like you give it all, and that's odd. Now on these heads, like how did they come out? Like,
they came out great.
Awesome.
I mean, here, I'll send you some pictures,
Yeah,
and then
absolutely.
you can,
I'll
you can upload
it.
them in here. I'll send you the pictures that I did for those heads.
And then how did Ryan and all the Powell brothers like it? And obviously, it's a great success because, well, obviously that's where you're at now, is doing some stuff for them, right?
Yeah. So they liked it. The whole project was really good.
Nice.
Their whole project was cool. So everyone had a theme to do. Whether it was some food or a beer theme or military or cartoon, whatever it was.
This wasn't a competition,
no,
right?
it wasn't
was just
a competition.
Like, hey,
we
want to see people's work to see if we want to continue letting them dye our heads or something like that. Is that okay?
So this was just completely an idea that they came up with, that they wanted to promote their products. They wanted to list them in their. They have a section on their website. It's called the Wood Shop.
Correct.
And it has all like art, lacrosse art from all kinds of different people in the industry. So, they had one guy on there that partnered with the heads that were like airbrushing wood shafts, and dude, it was amazing. So I even have some of that work at home that I'm going to hang up at my house someday.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that was a time that I think they were testing everybody out for the Craftsman's Project, which is probably a year later down the road after I finished all these heads for them. But basically when I was finishing my last 2 heads is when the Dyer's Cup was starting.
Okay.
And so I actually entered one of because they always want you to say, hey, enter your best dye that you did this year. And then the top 16.
For the Dyer's Cup.
Yeah, for the Dyer's Cup.
Yeah.
Top 16 get picked, right, with the judges and them. So so I entered probably one of my heads that I did for them.
Okay.
And got into the Dyer's Cup that year.
Nice. How'd that make you feel to actually get into it this time?
Yeah, it felt great, and then I'm just looking at these dyers and like, oh my gosh, at the time, I think one of the guy who won it that year was Rafe Lacrosse. He was he's retired since then.
Okay, that's
he
what
was
I was
a
like.
younger kid in college. He had won it this year, but there was, just these amazing dyers in this. And just to be in there, I was like, okay, that's cool. Maybe I'll make it. But I think I actually brought those heads here. The very first head they give you a theme every round. So that's how it works for people that don't know.
Is that a theme for each individual, or is it for everybody that has to do that same thing?
For everybody.
Okay.
So for people that don't know how the Dyer's Cup works, usually it's top 16 in there. Lacrosse manufacturer or sponsor. So one year has been like Epic. 1 year might be ECD, right? And then they tell you, hey, we're going to send you this year was the Epic Purpose 15 degree, and you have to dye it on the theme is going to be advertisement.
Okay.
And that's all they give you.
Gotcha.
So that was the year that I did this one here. So this was a Cabela's themed advert. So I did like a Cabela's ad.
Take a look at that.
It's so sick.
This is the one that got you entered into the.
No, that was the first round that year.
Okay.
Yeah. So that got me into the top 8.
Nice. I don't know how you do it though. For you guys, if you're just listening, not watching the video, I'm taking a look at one of his heads right now that he dyed, and it's just, I don't know how you do it. I just don't. That's definitely a lot of time for sure.
And practice. So, at the time, I still had a regular full-time job,
Yeah.
So I'm not a young, one thing I noticed, there's a lot of young high school, college kids.
And that's what a lot of them do.
Stuff,
yeah, because that's what they want to do during college.
And like I said, I was pretty naive, not knowing the lacrosse industry. So I came in probably at the time I was like 42, young 40s.
Yeah.
And competing with these kids, but it was fun. So that got me into the top 8 there. And then the next round was, is this one here. The next round was they give you the one color. You can only use one color to dye.
So without moving forward, how long do you have each round to do a head?
It varies. Usually they like to give you 2 weekends.
Okay.
But that's negotiable. Sometimes, they're really cool.
Pretty lenient.
Everyone's
stuff.
pretty lenient. Say,
Yeah.
hey, everyone's schedules, we'll give you an extra week.
Okay.
Or, hey, if everyone's turned in early, we'll just do it early and you guys have extra time on your next head. So it varies, but they try and keep it timed out to where at a certain point, you know, it's
to
dead.
make it fair for everybody, because some want to go all out.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons I had to drop out this year. But so this was the next head. This is probably one of my favorite heads I've ever done, and I'll keep this head forever. This is like my fireplace piece right here. This is my art piece. So this is one color they came out with, and at that time it was, I think it was July, and Shark Week comes out in July. And so I was like,
that's why I'm looking at it. I'm seeing the shark mouth.
So I'm going to do a Shark Week themed, and so that's where this head was. So this is all done with one color. And so, but what I love about it is the back scoop there.
Yeah, I was looking at this earlier too, but
it's just like
you
different
don't
shades.
understand the detail. And I'll post, if you guys are watching the video, I'll post photos and close-ups of everything that's on here. But it's just, you don't understand how much space you have to have all this detail in there. You have to have an eye for this stuff. You got some good fingers to barely, because you probably have to apply. Obviously, it's like the stickers or whatever.
Yeah. Vinyl cutters. Yeah, you know, it's imperable to have a vinyl cutter when you do these dyes. And that was, you know, one of the purchases I made. And then, you know, studying the other dyers, you start to learn your layering techniques. And
gotcha. Now was this mesh part of the entry too, or
no? So I'm going to give a shout out to Vero Beach Lacrosse. You guys go follow him on Instagram. The guy is, the timing of it takes to do that mesh is insane. He braids the mesh and braids all the jewels into the netting. And so obviously it was cool. So he's in Florida, and so he got a bunch of shark teeth, a little scuba diver on there. And so that will always be just basically an art piece, and it's probably one of the most looked at pieces that people take pictures of. I take a lot of these heads to the tournaments with me, because people, it's one thing to see them on Instagram, but it's a whole another thing to see them in person.
Absolutely. And that's what I'm saying. People don't understand how much stuff you have, like on just that scoop part right there with all that detail in there until you actually see it in person. Like photos and stuff don't ever do anything justice until you're in person. And dude, that's
and so fire. I think this head, so that head was the next round, and I think that might have been the highest scoring head or the second highest scoring head, and that got me into the top 4.
Nice.
And I was like, dude, what's going on? I was like, there's no, you know, I didn't think I was like, man, I'm at the top 4.
And what year was this on this one?
This would have been, so this is 2023. So this past year is the 22 contest. This would have been 2020, right, during COVID.
So
and so that was too, and it was tough because before I did this, I worked in the mortgage industry for 20 years.
Okay.
And so I did I did underwriting and processing. I was an originator, all that during that time. But at that time I was doing a lot of mortgage processing, and I was handling paperwork.
Okay.
And so what was funny is 2019 was probably one of the biggest mortgage banking years ever in U.S. history.
Wow.
Then the pandemic hit. Unfortunately, though, the pandemic did not ruin the mortgage industry. It gave it steroids.
Okay.
It just went crazy. So basically, 2 months after the pandemic,
this is all during when you're
this
in
is all during
Dyer's Cup too.
Yeah.
So your hands are full.
So my hands are full. During the pandemic, the first 2 months of the pandemic, literally 3 years or 4 years worth of mortgages became eligible for refinances. It just exploded. And so
we refinanced during that time.
Yeah,
we had to.
I did too. And I worked, so we did too. And so that made it even tougher, because a lot of times people had extra time on their hands. I had less time on my hands. So I would stay up till, send the kids to bed, so I would work during the day if I was coaching or not coaching, do dinner, do homework, get the kids to bed. And I would stay up till 2 or 3 in the morning doing these heads and trying to grow the company at the same time, just trying to get exposure, and then wake up in the morning and do it all again. And it was a huge grind, especially doing this type of dyes.
And again, this is not your typical
for 2-3 months
fade.
straight.
You're doing everything.
So and then people would see your heads online, and then they would start wanting you to do stuff. One thing during that time too was just putting heads out on the table wasn't good enough. it's cool, that people would buy your heads, but now they had to go take it somewhere and get it strung, which is just a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
And that was a huge light bulb for me too. It was like
started getting into the stringing and everything.
I was like, I got to step it up. I got to step up my game if I'm going to grow this company. And that's when I started getting into the stringing side of things. So, we'll talk about that. But, so now I'm in the top 4. You're doing these dyes, staying up late, just like a zombie. I was like a zombie.
Like a zombie. You're living your brand.
So
I'm sorry, when you transfer to the next rounds and stuff, is this through the Dyers Cup they vote, or is this
the Dyers Cup has
vote,
judges?
Okay,
the
so
judges.
they have judges. Okay,
they have like up to 8 to 10 judges.
Okay,
and you get a score.
Gotcha.
Each category, like color, how good did you hit the theme?
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
How much of the head did you use? Like the whole thing or just part of it?
Yeah.
So they have all these categories, colors, and then so each round you get voted in. So
nice.
Then,
So you're just grinding, and then you're talking about this one, right?
Yeah,
the one during the pandemic and everything, just grinding.
So this, and so that's 3 weeks, that's 2 weeks or whatever, and then you're into the next round. The next round was 90s cartoons.
I love this one.
that was this head. This is probably one of everyone's favorite heads I've ever done.
Let me see.
And that one took probably 60 hours. Yeah.
Wow. Jeez, the whole Rugrats and everything on here. Cat doll, yeah. That's what I'm during that time too. And then this was the next round after, or
yeah, that was round 3. So that was there was top 4, and then that was the round to try and get you into the championship.
Yeah, if you guys ever see Lax Zombie Dyes or Shane or anywhere like at a tournament or anything, please stop by his booth, guys. You guys do not understand the details and stuff that goes into all these dyeings. Yeah, that is fire. The Cartoon Network on it. So you got Nickelodeon on the front, the Cartoon Network on the back. Yeah, that is. So how did this one? So talking from the shark one, that one got you into the next round.
Yeah.
Was that with the mesh or so?
No mesh.
Dyers Cup is no stringing, right?
Stringing,
it's just dyes.
It's just straight dyeing. So you can, once the competition is over, then you can do what you want with the heads.
Okay.
So you can string them, keep them, sell them, whatever. But they want you to keep them until the end of the competition in case, in this case, Epic wanted all the heads to do their own pictures with them.
Okay.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. That's.
So this was the highest scoring one that round, which got me into the championship.
Nice.
And so now I'm like, man, this is crazy.
What is going on right now?
So I'm in the championship with Wraith, who was the guy I mentioned. And at that time, he was like, dude, he's one of the top guys in the game, And so I felt like I was just like flying under the radar, which is awesome. I still feel like today I feel like today I still fly under the radar, like as a dyer.
What do you mean by like that? Like you're not.
I still feel like I'm not known.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah,
in a way.
But
so like.
And like we were saying, it just depends on the audience,
Yeah,
like
exactly.
If there's people that love the dyes, everybody knows about Lax Zombie Dyes, But if people really don't do the dyes and stuff, then they'll probably come by and just like, oh, yeah, these are fire. But
yeah,
it makes sense. But
so yeah, because I still feel like our company is at the infancy stage, kind of. I still feel like we're just.
You're in the right path. Trust me.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Very successful. Where we start, like when we first met. What was that, 19 or 20?
It was 19.
At the Seals
something
and
like that,
Mammoth game. And I think we were both like kind of just hyping each other up after we met each other. Like we'd both go back and forth. We would both do giveaways together and just kind of go like that. And that's when I took my break. And then I come back and I look at your thing and you're just gone. I'm like, wow, that's phenomenal. That is so awesome with your success.
I think we started our companies. Man,
about the same
definitely
time.
The same year, yeah.
Because I think I started in 19, and my very first thing, kind of like what you did, I was not ready for it. I had one logo, and I think 3 or 4 different color shirts, and I went to lacrosse convention in Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. And you guys are gonna get this story, but we showed up, and it was my older brother that came out and helped me. I showed up. They already had the table with the cloth and the 2 chairs. Everything else was you had to bring. I went to Walmart. As soon as I landed, I went and got a pop-up tent, brought it over to my booth, set it up, and then just got hangers and just hung my shirts around the outside. And I'm just like, man, this is like so bootlegged. Like it's not professional looking or anything like that. But I'm just like, I'm here to have a good time. Like I'm into it. And just the amount of people that would come over still to spin my wheel or buy merch and do all that stuff. I'm just like, I'm continuing this thing. And that's when the pandemic hit as soon as we got home. And then everything, but it just grows from there. But like I'm saying, it's just, the beginning stages are always the hardest. But when you, like I said, just when you get that one phone call or something like that, something just clicks and you're just like, all right, it's time to start taking off. And all those shirts, like in the beginning, like I didn't know what I was doing with apparel. All those shirts were very thick and not fun to wear. So at the end of the day, I just grabbed everything I could and just walked around and started handing everything out. I was like, I'm not a fan of this heavyweight stuff. Let's change our thing when we get back home. Just wanted to change everything. And then, I mean, like I said, now that I took the break and I came back and how successful you are, like I said, we were both kind of like hyping each other up as we were moving up. And then you just, after all the Dyers Cups and now with the PAL, you're on the right track, man. You're doing very good, dude. Yeah. Very good.
So that unfortunately I got second that year. So it was a close match.
But going from not being entered the year before to the champion
to being second place. And since then, the last 2 years, I got third place last year, and I was in the top 4 this year.
Nice.
And with the growth of the company, and I'm doing something this month that I haven't done, which is we're hitting 4 tournaments in 5 weeks.
Wow.
So to keep up with the inventory and everybody's orders, and I really just had to put the customers and the people first.
Absolutely.
For the events. And it was really hurtful because I really felt like this was a great year for me too, because I produced these 2 heads this year. Were the ones that I produced this year.
Okay.
I really felt like...
These were for the Dyers Cup?
Yeah.
Okay.
So those were for the first 2 rounds of the Dyers Cup this year. And I had my theme done already for the next round. And unfortunately, I just had to, due to the timing of how quick they wanted the heads back, I couldn't meet that time date with producing what I wanted to produce. So I could have put out...
You could have done, you could. I see what you're saying.
That would have been 10 to 15 hours worth of work or whatever, but it's not the quality that I would want to produce into a contest. And so,
I mean, that's what I love about you. Just you don't want to, I guess, half-ass anything. Like, if you're in it, you're in it.
If I'm in it, I'm in it.
Yeah, exactly. 100%.
If I'm going to tell you I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it.
Now, those 100%. You said 5 tournaments. Is that what you're saying?
I'm doing 4 tournaments in 5 weeks.
And that's all going on like right now?
Yeah.
So you're
I've
a podcast, you're Sandstorm, you're doing the Dyers Cup.
So I did... I'm here in Vegas this weekend, which was awesome. So I'm here for a cheer competition.
Correct.
So everyone knows I would just... this was awesome because you were going to go to LaxCon. I was going to go to LaxCon this year. I really want to get out there.
Yeah.
It just didn't work out because my daughter's cheer competition. I want to be there to support her.
Absolutely.
And my wife's coaching, so be
Family's
there to support them.
First, man.
And dude, if you guys ever been to a cheer, it's like Bring It On times 10 steroid. Like there's more.
And it's not even just the arena; it's the whole casino,
everything.
The strip,
like there's
everything.
More glitter than a Vegas strip club. Like it is just crazy. Like all these girls walking around these bows and ponytails and. They're all hyped to the next level and running down the hallways of the hotel cheering.
Yeah,
it's funny. It's fun. It's a good time.
You come out of there doing your own cheers when you leave home.
Yeah,
huh?
I do my own cheers every night with my daughter. Anyway, she's always has a new routine at the end of the night to do, and she's like, watch this. You know.
So you're just now. Are you? So I noticed when you were at the Sandstorm, did you have your trailer with you?
I did, but I stayed at like an RV park.
No, yeah. So are you traveling to
I travel
things
to
with
these things.
Wow.
Yeah, so I load up the trailer. So depending on what event I went to, so that one was, I had some help at that one because I was such a huge tournament.
Yeah.
And then previously, so I went to, I'm trying to think of the tournaments I went to. I went to a adrenaline tournament this month, which was in Norco, California. I went to Sandstorm. I'm going to, next weekend, I'll be in Santa Barbara.
Okay.
For a Cal Coast Sports tournament. And then I'll be, beginning of February, I'm going to do a smaller tournament I was invited to with Buku events in Huntington Beach.
Nice.
And then that's kind of the winter session there. And then next weekend's high school tryouts.
And then for you guys don't know or don't follow Shane, you are now becoming a head coach this year for a high school, right?
Yeah. So
how's it, how do you feel about like doing all that? Like,
I'm super nervous.
You're over here signing papers, mortgages, Dyers Cup tournaments, and coaching all at the same time.
I actually gave up my job this year.
Okay.
For mortgages.
Okay.
So I'm still licensed. I can still do them, but all my effort and everything has been dumped into this company to continue to expand and grow.
Awesome.
And so far, everybody's shown up. So, you can't grow this company without everybody out there supporting you. So I appreciate you guys so much. You don't even know, to grow this company to what it can be. We're just going to continue to expand.
Absolutely.
And with their support, you guys show up, purchasing stuff online. They show up at the tournaments. They get all their, And what's nice now is I think being at the point where we're at the point where I feel like people just come to me to get their stuff now.
Awesome.
And that's what
it's
you really
like
need.
going to a store, buying a head, and then come to you.
Either they don't have stores around where they live.
Yep.
Once they try the stuff, they love it. The stringing, like everyone loves certain types of stringing
Absolutely,
and stuff.
yeah.
But once they, throw with the heads, because the biggest thing was I need to learn how to string.
Yeah.
Because if I'm going to go to these kids want to buy these heads, put it on their stick, and they want to go play their next game.
Yeah.
There's no breaking in session with them. They want to go play it.
It's ready to go.
So I spent tons of hours in my backyard stringing up a stick, going to throw it. If I didn't like it, I would unstring the whole thing and do it all over again.
Try it over, yeah.
And so until I found a pattern that was consistent, until I can throw whatever 8 out of 10 corners, and I'm not even a lacrosse player. Like if I'm shooting that good, then I know they're going to even be better.
Exactly.
So until that confidence is to where I can put that head on the table now, and they buy it, and I swap their heads out all the time, and they go play, and they come back and be like, "That's the best thing I've ever done."
That's probably got to be like such a good feeling.
When their parents tell me that, that's the best feeling.
And see, and that's what I love about that, because I did one tournament before, and there was no stringing companies, head companies, or anything. It was the Best of the West out here in Las Vegas, and I've had so many people come up to me that bought new heads and stuff like, "Hey, do you mind stringing this for my kid before he plays?" And I'm just like, I don't know that side. Like, obviously I could YouTube and just do it right there, but it's just like, if you're at tournaments now, that's a big, big help, because usually when you go, it's usually apparel or like store companies that sell the products and everything like that. But there's really not a certain stringer or anything like that to get everything set for you to actually play with that. You have to go home, figure all that stuff out. So that's probably a good feeling when everybody comes up to you and like, "Hey, that was the best pocket I've ever had."
Yeah, it is. And then when they go home and they contact, or their friend contacts you,
now you're getting all the lead.
And now. And that was kind of it too, is like I would go to these tournaments and I would see, just like you said, the retail stores there, which are awesome. All the parents need that stuff there.
Yeah.
But now I have the trust of the owners who run those booths to where they do send people over to me now, and get their stringing done by me.
Yeah, and that goes back to you don't half-ass anything. It's like, if you're going to half-ass things, people aren't going to recommend you. Like, no, I mean, he's a hit or miss. I mean, you could go try him. But
exactly.
If you're putting out the stuff, you like, I'm not going to put this out unless it's 100%. I'm happy with it. That's when the people come back and be like,
it's I look at it as your reputation's everything.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Correct.
And so I try and I do that in all the aspects that I do in lacrosse.
Yeah.
So the dyeing, the stringing, the apparel. Like you said, if the apparel isn't, if I don't like it, then I don't even put it out there.
And the same thing with apparel. It's a hit and miss. Like, just
totally
because you like that design doesn't mean there's other people that will like it. And if it doesn't sell, then hey, don't do that design no more.
Yeah.
Like, move on to something different. See what people like. Like, you got to stay in that era of like, what are people feeling like? Are they in the baggy clothes this year? Are they in the skinnies or what? It's just like, what is everybody rocking this time of year?
I actually run a lot of stuff by this guy because he's in high school.
Exactly.
And so, he tells me, "Oh, Dad, that's horrible."
Yeah, nobody's gonna wear that. Don't even put that out.
So
now, do you string a lot of Nasha sticks, or
I string all of them.
Are you trying to get into stringing, like doing it yourself, or are you just kind of just like, "Dad, string this up for me"?
I can string the top, but I can't string all of it. So
I hear you.
Yeah. So I actually have been. I tell him I try and give him the easiest job in high school. Right? We all had jobs in high school.
Yeah.
So I've taught him how to do, because all of our top strings are pretty close to the same depending on what head it is. And then that way it just keeps it consistent across the company board.
Correct.
So no matter who's doing it, I always inspect it afterwards, but at least I know what I'm looking for, right? So I've taught him how to do the top strings now, and I pay him for every top string he does.
Nice.
So then that head's ready to go. I can just come bust out the sides And
nice.
Then, so it saves me time.
Oh, absolutely.
Gives him a job.
You love doing that stuff too to help out?
Yeah.
Yes and no. It's like
I mean,
and now I guess when
Yeah.
it comes to stringing, like, do you have anything for your fingers or anything like that? Because I notice when I try to pull things
Oh
tight.
my God, yeah. So I wear the tightest batting gloves.
Okay.
And then I just cut the very tip fingers off.
Gotcha.
And so that way when you're trying to pull, you have leather between there. But still but like now I'm kind of
After doing probably like 10
Yeah.
sticks in a row, you're probably like, all right, the glove isn't worth it anymore.
yeah. So, but now I don't use the gloves too often because I kind of spread the stringing out. So I try and do so now that I do it full time, I have to structure my day.
Yeah.
Right. It's not just, I'm going to wake up and do this. There's a lot of aspects to try and keep it going. And that's kind of what your time frames are. But so I wake up in the morning, get the kids to school, get coffee going, answer emails, answer messages on Instagram. And then I try and do my designing and dyeing in the day and stringing at night.
Nice.
So like, I might take my daughter to cheer practice, and I have 2 hours while I'm there watching her. I'll bring heads with me to string.
Nice. Oh, absolutely.
If I'm watching TV, it's easy just to string up some stuff there.
Absolutely.
So I don't consider that work.
Now, after you dye a head, I guess, how long do you have to let it sit before you can string it? Or can you just go into it right away?
Oh, you can pretty much go into it
Yeah.
right away. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They might sit a little while, but
Yeah.
until I can get to them. But, you have to clean them and wash them and kind of let them sit and dry out and a little bit,
Yeah.
So.
But I mean, that's probably going all back to the trial and error. Like in the beginning, you probably had to figure out what you could do or what you can't do. Or you probably, I mean, I guess, how many heads do you think you've messed up in the very beginning trying to get this thing going? Like,
a lot.
Man, yeah.
A lot.
I mean, you probably still make mistakes now, right?
Up.
Yeah,
I pitched
yeah.
At the last tournament, we just at Sandstorm. I did a head for a kid for college.
Okay.
It was a Southern New Hampshire University head.
Nice.
He plays for their team over in New Jersey. His mom's. I've done a couple of heads for his mom now. I totally jacked that head up.
Did you?
There was bleed everywhere.
Oh,
it bled all under the glue, and it was a mess. I bought them a new head, and did it over, started over.
Yeah.
Again.
I mean,
and change a couple
that's the
things.
professional thing to do,
Yeah.
obviously. But
And
so I guess with the messed up heads, like, what do you do?
So I
with
just
them?
throw them in a bin,
Yeah.
and I do something with them later.
Later
so
on. Yeah, absolutely.
So to me now, I used to get really upset at that. Obviously, when you first start out, you like expect these to work out, but you're working with water, everything leaks. But now I look at it as like, if I mess up, it's like whatever. Like it doesn't bother me no more. It's like sometimes I can fix it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can fix it, and then sometimes you can't with your design.
There's just some things, with your design, like you were saying with your design, you kind of have to it has to go with it or something,
and
right?
So it does suck because you waste the time it took to do it up to that point.
Yeah.
But you throw the heads in a bin, you can, if anything, just dye in black.
Exactly.
But I always try, you can do like cool marble dyes and
going back to the hot glue or doing something,
whatever,
if it's not already.
it's you can always fix something to make it into something else.
That's awesome.
So,
Yeah. No.
So I don't look at it as a loss anymore.
Yeah.
Like
I'm
I
sure
used
like
to.
in the beginning though, you're probably just like, man, this is going to kill my pocket.
It does because that, I guess we can get into that now. Is one thing is when you do something on the side like this, you kind of don't know what. Like I said, you got to kind of know what you're in it to it for. So for me, it was to grow into a business.
Yeah.
At the same time, you're still going uphill because you're not a retailer. You don't have a brick and mortar store, so it's really hard to. And then obviously for me too, it was like I had no relationships in lacrosse.
Yeah.
So I didn't have a buddy who worked at a manufacturer that maybe they could bend the rules a little bit for real. So
Absolutely.
it's just been now at the point where, like, for example, it was great that Pal Lacrosse, they were like the first partner, So when you.
And I guess we probably got to get back into that after you explain here.
Yeah, so now
how successful you are now with the PAL doing that whole thing. But we'll continue with this one.
So PAL, now they do a lot of apparel for me. They created the jerseys we have online, jerseys for my company. I created a club team last year. They've done those jerseys. They've done our high school jerseys. Nice. So that relationship with them keeps getting better and more solidified to where now I'm basically kind of like a a retailer with them.
Yeah, so I guess like right now, like LaxCon going on with their whole booth that going on, and I'm sure if you walk into that booth, you're going to see some of your work there, right?
Probably.
Yeah, exactly.
They probably have some of my heads there.
That is something, that's the goal you want to get to.
Yeah.
And you got it, man.
Yeah.
That's
so
so
I don't
awesome.
know, like at the booth, if they have it listed of who dyed the head for them or not.
Yeah.
But to me, I don't even care because it's just that relationship with them, just knowing that my work's there and they trust me, and if they need something done, they can contact me. I still do some dyes for them here and there.
Yeah,
I need to do more, but yeah, they have a great booth there at LaxCon.
Yeah,
and
I saw that on Instagram.
They do have some really cool heads coming out, some new colors.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't have to say much to get in trouble or anything like that. But I know, like I said, I was when I was at Casey Powell's clinic with Max Schmidt and Jeremy Sieverts. He was at the end. He got into a group and was talking about like how much his molds cost and all that kind of stuff. And I'm just, you guys, if you're going to try to come out with a head, just realize the mold is ridiculous.
It's expensive.
But he said that he's got some good stuff coming out for 2023, and that this is their first year actually at LaxCon.
Yeah,
so
they've never been before.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's so awesome that they're actually coming out, because back in our era, like if you played lacrosse and stuff, I mean, obviously you probably didn't know too much about them back in the day, but now like that was our idols growing up, was Mikey Powell, Casey Powell.
That was like
Ryan
your Michael
Powell.
Jordan, probably.
Yeah, the Gate brothers and all that stuff. And now you have like this era now is like the Thompson brothers.
Yeah.
It's like, so it's like back in the day, like seeing them play, you're just like, man, that's cool. And I actually had an opportunity to go to one of their clinics. My mom told me, it was like, I got pay for your clinic or I'll pay you for the new gloves. And at this time, I had like some old brine, just fabric ones. I don't know what they were. I can't remember, but I think that's when Warrior came out. I don't know what the name of the gloves were, like Crypto or something like that, but there was like the shiny blue, the silver, and I was just like, I want the gloves. But now thinking back at it, I'm just like, man, I should have went to one of their things. But again, without getting off subject, just meeting Casey Powell and how he was talking about all his new heads and stuff coming out, that's such an awesome thing. And like you were saying, they're just very humble guys, and it's so awesome to see someone I met is involved with them and everything like that. So that's so cool.
And I keep building a relationship with them. I mostly work with Ryan.
Okay.
Out of that whole thing, but I mostly have a relationship now with the guys who do stuff on the back end.
Yeah.
So the ordering and the shipping and stuff, because I'm pretty sure I'm the only. They do most of their stuff direct to consumer off their website, so you don't see them in Dick's Sporting Goods or retail store. So I'm like probably one of the only guys on the West Coast that hold their stuff as
nice.
Technically, you would say a retailer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
If anybody wanted a Powell lacrosse stick or something like that, they could come straight to you and order through you.
Of course.
Yeah,
I have the stuff listed on my website, or they can go to Powell Lacrosse and use my discount code, which is just Zombie.
Okay, there we go, guys.
They get 10. They get 15% off.
15 on any Powell,
any Powell stuff on their website.
Nice. There you guys go. Zombie is your code. So if they came to you all they have to do is just tell you kind of what they want or for their dyes and stuff, and you just order through you. Nice. Yeah. There you guys go. And are you stocked with like all the Pioneers?
I have all the Pioneers. Obviously, I have my favorite heads out of theirs that I carry the most of. So, which are more like the Pio transitions and the Pio defense heads. Okay. I like the Pio transition probably the most out of their headline.
Okay.
I feel like it can play all different types of them. Attack, midi. I've seen some defenders use it. LSMs have definitely used it.
Nice.
I've strung up for them. So and their defensive heads are decent too. So
they actually sent me a full complete stick. I think it was the Pioneer 2 or one of those. I can't remember what it was, but it came pre-strung and everything already like that. So is that something that you're involved with? Like if they go and sell a head that's pre-strung or something like that, you could be, or it's a hit and miss.
Yeah. No, I'm not involved in their stringing.
Okay.
So one thing they have on their stringing is they actually have like their PAL pocket.
Okay.
So they do have outside or in their factory that string up their sticks, but it's specifically to their own.
And that's what's so funny
pocket.
You said that, because when I was just at that clinic, he picked up some other kid's PAL stick and goes, "This is not the original pocket." And I'm just like, how does he know that right away? So that makes sense now.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So, but that's where some of their custom stuff is you can, buy different pockets in their wood shop section. But I do string the PAL heads a little differently than how they string them out of their factory, but they're pretty good coming out of their factory. As far as everyone complains about factory stringing, they're pretty good about their factory stringing.
I love the way they came out.
And then their girls line just launched this year.
Nice.
So their boys are gonna have a couple different colors. So they had they launched last year 8 different colors.
Yeah,
really
they had
cool.
green,
they had yellow,
orange,
and green, all that stuff.
Yeah.
They've dialed that back a little bit from what sold and didn't sell.
No, I'm sorry. I was going to say, was that their only head when they had all those colors, and that's why they came out with so many colors, or did they have more heads during that time?
They had more head.
Okay.
I think their defensive head they never really launched the big colors on, but
Gotcha.
their transition and their attack heads they had all those different colors.
Okay.
But then the colors that didn't sell great, they kind of dialed those back.
Yeah.
But now they have 2 new colors coming out this year that I think they launched at LaxCon, but I won't say.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Sure. Yeah, no, absolutely.
But they're going to be hot sellers.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm only going to be on the phone with them on Monday.
I'm going to probably just call you to say, hey, I want this. String me up another Vegas one.
Yeah.
Let's do it. I'm going to do a giveaway. Maybe I could link up and we'll do a giveaway or something.
They used to have a really cool gold color.
Did they?
That's mine.
He loves
like a chrome gold.
No, it was like a dark gold.
Okay.
It was like this kind of color.
Gotcha.
Gold. But they don't have it. They don't sell it no more. But I was like, man, that was a great head, dude. I wish I had 10 of those just stashed away. Some of their color or the yellow. They had a San Diego Seals colored yellow.
Nice.
That they just don't sell anymore either. And that one was dude.
So it's probably just whatever they saw was a hit and miss, and then they just kind of cut back like you were saying.
And then the girls' heads that launched this year, so far from what I've seen, have been really cool. They had 2 colors, black and white. And what was cool is working with them, they set me a head. I got to string it how I would string it with, let's say, just mesh.
Okay.
Send it back to them to their office, and then they got all these different stringers to do that, and then they would develop their factory PAL pocket out of that.
Nice.
So I guess that's kind of so that head's still there at their office.
Nice.
I gotta be like, hey, I want that head back.
Let me grab that one back.
Use it.
Now, was that part of the military theme?
No,
or
that
is
was
that just a
separate.
random?
Yeah, just a random.
Okay.
When they were launching their girls' head of how they wanted.
Oh, it was the girls' head. I'm sorry, I was thinking about the military. Okay, yeah.
How they wanted to string their girls' pockets up.
Okay.
So that's pretty cool. So they come, and then I think at LaxCon too, they just launched different colors for the girls' head.
LaxCon's the way to just let it all out right there.
So we were just before the podcast. We were just going through. I think it was ECD's story feed on Instagram and just looking at the cool
all the new
top
stuff
5 new stuff that they're launching through at LaxCon right now.
Dude, it's just some of the stuff is so fire. Like when I was going there just walking around too, that was 2019 when the new stuff was coming out too, you're just like, wow. Because I really wanted to almost be like a retailer, start bringing some other different companies so they could order on the West Coast. Because like I said, West Coast, we really don't have, we do have some lacrosse stores. Like Vegas, we have nothing except for Dick's and
and they're not
something
great.
else. Yeah, you're going to obviously they have the ECDs, a couple String Kings and STX and stuff, but it's more of the beginner, intermediate kind of thing. If more of the pro, the Ions and all that kind of stuff like that. Do they even have those at the Dick's anymore?
I haven't even checked out yet.
Yeah.
Probably not the Ions because those things have been selling out so quick every time they relaunch them.
Yeah.
But those are great heads. I've strung a bunch up so far.
Yeah.
And they throw so nice.
I feel like next year we definitely need to go there.
I think we do.
I mean, even it's just a walk around.
Dude, how about that?
You know how awesome that would be? Just have a crowd out here and some speakers and talking. No, that's something to think about for sure.
It'd be really cool. So
yeah. So now you're fully in with PAL.
I'm fully in with PAL.
Okay.
Yeah, I talk to them regularly. I know I buy the most retail stuff from them, as far as an individual goes, not a big company. I don't know how much I spend with them, but it's crazy.
But
I'm always selling out of their stuff when I have it.
That's perfect.
Because I do take their stuff and I customize it to design and string the stuff that I want in it. But that's a battle, is becoming a retailer when you're an individual versus a brick and mortar store.
Yeah.
That's been the biggest battle of any of this.
Yeah.
Is getting a company to trust you, right? That you are, that you're serious for one, and that you're, obviously not bootlegging their stuff or whatever, out of your garage just because we sell it to your retail, right? So all my stuff that I have, or any companies that I'm a retailer with, it's all the same as if you were to go buy it at Dick's. I'm not discounting it.
Yeah.
Anything like that. So, and now this year, I'm just at the point to where some larger companies I feel like have taken notice.
Nice.
To where they're more willing to bend those rules a little bit.
Gotcha.
And so 2023 will be a year of that.
No, yeah, absolutely.
If it's going to happen, it will be this year in the sense of
nice.
Okay, let's take a closer look at this guy. He might not have a brick and mortar store yet, but
yet is the first. Yet's the word.
Can we trust him to represent our stuff?
Correct.
At any of these
in like
events?
a professional way and everything like that. Not just say, that's their stuff right there.
Yeah. So I still carry all the, I still, even if I'm not a retailer with them, I still carry, ECD and Warrior and String King and whatever at my booth because kids want that stuff. They might be looking for a specific head.
Absolutely.
You just don't get it. Your, like you said, your profitability or your margin lines are just a lot slimmer when it comes to that. So exactly, it's a balance that you have to do.
100%.
Yeah.
So let's go back to so now you're getting into coaching. So you're gonna be coaching a high school team, and Nash, this is the team that you're actually playing on, correct? Yeah. So how'd you kind of get into that? Just kind of.
So I've always coached at the youth level with him when he started.
And then, sorry guys, this is gonna be your freshman year, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So first year in high school, and then that's when Shane's coming over, and he's gonna start coaching over there. So again, how did you kind of get into the coaching?
Yeah, so I started coaching youth level and just learning from other guys who've played lacrosse and coach, and I'm just like a sponge. I still am like a sponge. I'm online all the time, a couple times a week, learning, watching games, watch video.
Absolutely.
Same thing, game study, right? So now I'm at the point here, I'm just flipping my same commitment to coaching.
Nice.
Right? So last year, his high school just started the lacrosse team. They're brand new, never had lacrosse. They're like a club team. See who wanted to do it. It was co-ed. They were going to go out and try and play like some varsity, some JV, kind of mix it up.
Get the feet wet and got to kind of get out.
The staff didn't really have any help.
Okay.
And at the time, he actually was not going to go to that high school, actually. Right? Yeah. So
is this like a high school like you're zoned in, or is this?
Yeah, we live right next to that high school, but they didn't have lacrosse growing up, right? So they had just started the program like 2 months before the lacrosse season. And I look at him like, I know he was going to go to that high school because all his friends went to that high school. They're going to that high school.
Nice. Okay.
And so we did go to a couple other high schools looking that have established lacrosse programs. And he was, as much as he probably would have hated it, he would have went to those schools to play lacrosse.
Yeah.
So anyways, I reached out to the coach and the guy I knew at the time. I'd say, hey, I'm willing to help you out. I know you don't have any coaches. So last year I was just like an assistant coach with them. I meant to come out only like once or twice a week, maybe, to help them run drills or whatever. But it turned into like
full time,
going to the games. You kind of get attached to the kids.
Correct.
You want to see them succeed. And so, finished off last year. So then this year, they had some stuff go on, and they opened up the coaching position. Okay. And so I went in there 2 different times to interview, and then I got the job.
Nice.
And
that's coming up February, right?
February 11th is our San Diego's high school tryouts. That's when the first spring athletes can hit the field.
Okay, so you're going to do the tryouts, and then you're going to start getting into like the team practices. And then the game. When did the game start? Actually,
it's quick.
So it's got to be turn.
Yeah, I just got the job like 6 weeks ago.
Yeah,
like it was super short notice here, and it was like so. The schedule was already set when I got the job. I only added 1 game to the schedule.
Gotcha.
You're like have to get all this gear. It's like condensed, like super pressure on you, and I'm doing these tournaments, and so I'm excited though.
Oh, absolutely.
I know the kids are excited, the parents are excited.
I'm excited for you, man.
I'm even going to coach some of the kids that I used to coach Pop Warner football with because they're all like 1 year older than him. So these kids are coming to try out now that they know I'm coaching, which is awesome.
Absolutely.
They get to try a new sport. Like we have so many new. His school has a lot of really good athletes.
But lacrosse is a whole.
They just never played lacrosse, so we're gonna be super raw.
But that's what's good, I guess. Obviously, it's harder to go play teams that have been together forever, but starting all fresh is probably one of the best things you do, because that's when it's all fresh into their head. Like new players coming into play, like they don't know what to do. So if you teach them the right way, that's how they're going to play through. If they show up and they already know how to play lacrosse, they're kind of just like, I'll do it my way, kind of. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, at least it's a whole thing. Obviously, the first year is probably going to be a little ups and downs here and there. It's the whole learning curve, just like how we all started our own company.
Exactly. So I'm hoping that I can implement a lot of this type of stuff with my company and my business into the high school team and build a certain type of culture.
Nice.
Years down the line. So that's what we really want to do. And San Diego this year did something really cool. We talked about is they split up all the divisions in the county this year. So it should be a lot more. We were discussing
how many teams were in that.
So there was they have their open division. So it goes D1, D2, D3. And then the top 8 teams, I think it's 8, top 8 teams in D1 go into an open division, which would be like your nationally ranked, like Torrey Pines High School, right?
Yeah.
They're doing something really cool, too. You mentioned if you're going to come down for that open game. Yeah, so correct. March 4th for the Seals.
Yep.
March 3rd, Torrey Pines is playing at Snapdragon.
In that arena?
In that arena with another top high school team from Canada.
And they're playing box,
They're playing
right?
field.
So they're going to play field, and then they're going to turn it into box.
Yep. Okay. Then they're going to turn it into box game the next day.
That's going to be fire.
Yeah. So that's going to be cool. That's a very high-profile game. If you want to check that game out, come down and vlog that one. Would be really good for you. Absolutely. And then they have D2 and D3. So they did have, like, in D2, they had, 40 teams. And so those bottom teams it was very hard for them to compete for anything.
Yeah.
So now they split it up into 3 divisions. So now we have about our high school is going to fit into D3 since we're new.
Yeah.
And we're going to have about 20 teams in that division, and the top 12 will make the playoffs.
Nice.
I think we can make the playoffs. That's our goal. That's our goal.
Absolutely.
D3 championship.
There you go. You can start if you guys, dude. How far would that be? First year coaching, everything, and just all the way, all the way. That's just that builds your confidence, dude.
Yeah. We'll keep you in touch. So we do have a full staff for the boys, which is awesome too. We have full help.
Nice.
So that's really good. But it's all the little things. It's all the admin stuff that I'm learning.
Absolutely.
High school admin. It's the, we need a scorekeeper. We need a statistician. We need someone to help run this, help run that. So that's where the parents have really been supportive so far. And a lot of them obviously follow this and have seen this grow. And so hopefully we can just continue that trend. You know.
Absolutely.
And it's a good time of year because then the tournaments stop. That's one thing I like about the lacrosse. The clubs all stop during high school and rec league.
Correct.
And then they start back up after the championships.
And that's kind of like how it is out here in ULAX. Like summertime, you're getting everybody from colleges and all that stuff. And then like when school and everything starts back up, you don't have much teams of the ULAX anymore because everybody's gone again.
Yeah.
Back into high school again or college, or they're out working. So it's just like, it's that time of season now. Like everybody out here, I think they just started coaching again right now. Like all the practices I think start this week to kind of get them back into the season again.
That's kind of what we're at too.
It's all coming back up.
So I'm nervous, but I'm excited. One of the things you have to get over, I think I'm more nervous is just because, I know I'm not the best knowledgeable or probably the best coaching for lacrosse because of my background, right? And not doing it. But also at the same time, that hasn't stopped me before. It's already stuff that I'm doing. So I'm willing to put the work into it to make that team successful. As long as
because you're going to be learning from the kids as well. It's a whole learning curve. Like just even if you've been coaching your whole life and you go to a whole new team, it's a whole new learning thing again. So you're starting pretty much all over. So you're in the right spot for sure.
One of the things I always had to get over even doing this stuff was the fact that I never played lacrosse. I always felt like I had no pedigree for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and people should not look down on other companies or anything like that just because they haven't played lacrosse. But it's just no, who cares if they haven't played lacrosse? They're in the lacrosse community now.
Yeah, I don't think now it's not like that anymore.
No, absolutely.
I used to think that all the time, and now that's not even say. As long as you're producing, they could care less.
Yeah, because same thing on me. The last time I played actual lacrosse was high school, and after I graduated, I put my stick down and didn't do anything until 2018, 2019 is when I picked it back up, and I went to my nephew's game and just saw the big turnout, and I'm like, Wow. Okay. Yeah. I want to get back into lacrosse again, and that's how Fast Break kind of started from there, and just kind of kept on moving up from there.
Yeah, it sucks you in for sure.
It does.
It sucked us in for sure.
Yeah. So what should everybody expect for you in the future? Like any big plans? Obviously, you got a lot of tournaments coming up. You're coaching, so you're just gonna be a very busy guy, huh?
Yeah. So I guess as the brand itself gets more popular, we'll produce more merchandise and logo. That's one thing
Absolutely.
that's been really cool, people to support. It's not just me doing something now, it's more of like its own brand.
Yeah.
Which is something I never thought it would grow into.
Yeah.
So as people want more, hey, come out with this or that, like, yeah, we'll produce it for you guys, and t-shirts and hoodies.
Absolutely.
And one thing we want, we have a whole merch line coming out for summer 23.
Nice.
So I guess you could expect that, which would be stuff people have been asking for. So they want hoodies, they want joggers. What else do they ask? Beanies?
Beanies, yeah, probably.
Kind of the winter
yeah.
type of apparel. We have all summer apparel. We have really cool like shorts and jerseys, t-shirts, but we have nothing for like fall, winter apparel.
Yeah.
And especially for and you don't think about this living in San Diego.
Yeah.
But people that come from Chicago and
correct,
these
they're the ones
cold
like,
cities.
East side is like they all want
the
that beanies
stuff.
and all that stuff, and like it's the same thing out here in Vegas. Like summertime, I'm just like I'm not thinking about that stuff on the East Coast or anything like that. I'm just like, all right, let's put out some shorts, some straw hats, and this and that, and nobody over there like really orders any of that. You're just like, why? And then all of a sudden, like you put out the winter stuff, they're like, yeah. All right.
So we have a whole winter line coming out this year in 23.
Nice.
And we can continue that, and then we have some new like logos.
Nice.
To go off of our herd logo right now that we have, but we have some other logos that we're kind of messing around with too.
Nice.
So
we're ready to expect a lot coming from Lax Zombies.
I don't know if we'll ever go to the full retail shop per se.
I'm sure
I enjoy kind of doing what I'm doing now, but I do, it might be a necessity. More of, we started a club team last year. I think we can expect more on that a little bit for this summer.
Okay.
As that kind of gains more popularity.
Yes.
One thing that's been really cool is people from out of state wanting to play for the Zombie club team.
Nice.
So that's something that I think either 23 or 24 that I'll have to work out.
Yeah.
It'd be really cool to say, hey, let's get 20 free agents for this age group and go meet at like Park City, Utah and do a tournament.
Absolutely.
Right.
100%.
So I'll just bring all the uniforms with me, meet you guys there, and let's just do a free agent tournament for fun. And just have fun. So I know there's a lot of kids that would do that follow the Lax Zombie company. It'd be really cool to see if we can do that. And then I'd really want to start a girls Zombies club team too.
Absolutely.
As the girls game starts getting better. My daughter's in 4th grade, so I'll be with her for the next 8 years or so, bringing her up in lacrosse, and she likes playing lacrosse too.
Nice.
So,
Absolutely.
even though she's real heavy into cheer, but she loves lacrosse. Like
you gotta try everything, because like when growing up, I started lacrosse in 6th grade, but all through playing lacrosse, I've raced motocross and ring cross. I've played basketball, but lacrosse is the only actual league sport that I've actually involved myself in. Other things were just like go play around and mess around, but lacrosse was the only first team sport I've ever played. I mean, t-ball and all that kind of stuff back in the day, but getting a little bit older, you're just like, all right, lacrosse, and that's I love it.
And so I think we'll just continue on trying to, since this was the first year that I did it full time, we made it through 22.
Yeah.
So I want to, I think 23 is going to be the year that can we continue the momentum and make the company stable to where going forward, then we can do some expansion.
Absolutely.
So one thing, expansion, I guess, is really key for the next 2 years for us because of where we can hit not just one setup. I want 2 or 3 setups, and then having people that you can trust to run those setups when you're out there. So
I ran into it's not even coming to my head now. Goose It Lacrosse.
Yeah. Dude, those guys are awesome.
They're such nice people, and they're doing such a good thing with what they do with the diabetes and all that kind of stuff. That's so awesome. But I met them at the US Box LA tournament out here, and I was just talking to them, and I was like, just discussing with them, because they're another apparel company. If you guys don't know who they are, go follow them. They have some great stuff. But I was talking to them, and they're like, yeah, we got like 3 or 4 other tents that are some in California over here. I'm just like, that's where you need to be. Like, that's the perfect spot. Instead of, oh, I can only stay at one tournament for this weekend while there's other ones going over here. You definitely need to spread it. And hearing that, I was like, man, that's something I kind of want to try to see.
But you
have to build yourself up. And like you were saying, you have to have people that run that stuff. You have to trust them, because if they're over there just dogging it and stuff, people are going to look at your company and be like, well, I'm not interested in this guy.
And all the guys that work in their booths, right? I mean, he meets all the guys. Man, they're all young. They're all great kids. They're all part of their family or friend network. Their dad helps them out like with some of the business, but like the kids run the whole thing. Yeah. Like they are business minded.
Oh, absolutely.
They're young kids.
Absolutely.
I have no doubt that some of them go to college for like business degrees and stuff. And afterwards I ask them like, hey, what are you guys doing? Like, I've gotten to know them quite a bit. Like a lot of times they'll be right there. For some reason, we're always set up right next to each other at the tournaments.
Yeah.
So you get to know those guys.
Yeah.
On the road. And, dude, there's not one thing you could ever say bad about those guys. They
so
supportive. They're
too.
supportive. I mean, I go over there and I buy their hats and T-shirts for myself too. And then they've bought stuff for me too. But it's like you support each other that way. They always ask me, "Hey, you want help set up, set down?" Because a lot of times I'm by myself.
Yeah.
But yeah, they are doing things the right way.
They're very professional.
They're going to be a juggernaut, man. They do really well.
They're expanding. Yeah. Wow, like it's amazing to see that. And again, going back to another apparel company, it's like I'm not like, oh man, I hope they fail because I want to get. No, it's like I love seeing people succeed in the sport of lacrosse. Like that's what we're all here for, is trying to grow it to be more than what it is now, because it's grown. And now, like I said, now we have the Vegas Desert Dogs out here for the NLL team. Like we're expanding, and it's just more and more is coming in. It's just like the limits are up there, man.
Yeah, it's going to continue to grow as the NLL adds more teams. I truly believe that the PLL will probably add more teams
absolutely,
too.
100%.
It's hard to follow the PLL because they're in the summertime, the same time that I'm traveling around.
Yeah.
So that's been a little bit difficult to follow what's been going on in there.
Yeah.
Because you're grinding it out on the weekends that they're playing, right?
Correct.
So I would like to see them expand more into the West Coast cities, though.
That's they have to. I wanted to see. I was trying to reach out to them to see if I could get like a badge or something to do some of the vlogs, because I know when they come to Utah, I wanted to go at least take a look at one of their games, or maybe even one of these times when I start getting bigger, try to be a vendor at one of their fan fests or events or whatever they have before the games. But like you said, everything's kind of like East Coast or mid, and it's not really. And I thought the headquarters was in California, unless they moved it.
I don't know.
Because I always watch Paul Rabel on his YouTubes and stuff like that, and I think that's where they started, was in somewhere in California. I think LA, but I don't know if they changed somewhere else. I'm just like, why wouldn't you guys want to just to be everywhere, like a West Coast too, and just kind of. But same thing with them. They're growing. They're growing, and they like last year they just added more teams, and it's just going to keep growing. So it's a full thing.
Yeah, it'd be really cool. I mean, who knows down the road? But it's cool the way they do it now. It's where people get to watch a lot of games over the weekend instead of just being like, hey, we're based in this city.
Yep.
It's good to.
They're trying to show everybody like the game of lacrosse.
I do like that aspect of it. You know, they don't have as many teams yet to do that, but it's cool if
they'll get there.
I mean, they haven't announced their All-Star destination
yet.
Maybe I'm hoping they could pick San Diego during the World Games, which would be kind of a cool, perfect thing. But hint, PLL, if you guys are listening, that would be a great aspect of it. To just, dude, everyone's already going to be there. Like it would just be a really sick event to do sometime around that World Games. I don't know when the PLL season starts, but because a lot of those guys are probably going to play in the World Games too. So that's
absolutely.
With somebody. So
100%, and that's the one thing I was trying to get to LaxCon too, is I want them to do a East and a West Coast kind of like convention. So like all of us that's here on the West Coast, we don't have to travel so far to bring all of our items and stuff to the East Coast. But again, it's growing. Everything's growing, and I guarantee it'll get there. One will be like a winter here and a summer there or something. I guarantee it'll start growing more and more.
Yeah, I really want to make it out to LaxCon. The biggest thing is just I feel like I actually feel like I have friends that are on social media that I've never met.
That's very true.
I really want to get out there and just meet more, not only customers or people who see my work out there on the East Coast, but it's like dude, you get to meet the manufacturers, people who you've worked with, people you've talked with online. You just have never met those people yet.
No, and then my very first year I went, I actually went to the String King booth, and I believe Oscar, their stringer.
Oscar,
you met Oscar? Yeah, he's a good guy.
I just met Oscar a couple weeks ago.
Did you?
Actually. Yeah, I did.
Yeah, so I met him there, but I didn't know who he really was.
Right.
And then when I did that support the player thing, I went to String King in California and did their whole tour, and there was Oscar right there stringing and everything.
Sticks,
and I'm just like, wow. And then just seeing what he's doing with like his grip tapes and stuff now. But yeah, he's a really cool guy. So that's awesome.
Yeah, we went and visited String King unannounced to them. So we just stopped in. We were up there for it Thanksgiving?
Yeah,
it's like a Thanksgiving break. And I was like, hey, let's just stop in. We're in the area.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
we met Trevor up there. And and Oscar.
Yep.
Yeah, he's in his little corner.
In his little corner.
Does he still have that little desk thing? Yep. Dude, I was just like, okay. And he was learning like different languages as he's stringing. Like he's being productive with everything he does. Like I can't remember what language he was trying to like learn, but as he's stringing, he just puts his headphones in and listens to that language and just tries to learn it. And now he's like, oh my God! If you guys don't follow Oscar from String King, go follow him. You'll see all the different like stuff. He's just incredible.
Yeah,
because he started off like not a lacrosse background or anything either.
I didn't know that. I haven't had a.
I don't think he played lacrosse, but I think because when I met him stringing, he wasn't really into playing lacrosse or anything like that.
Oh, okay.
But now I think String King may have just opened up like their own little field in their warehouse or something like that, where he could shoot and test the products. Maybe.
Well, they actually have like four warehouses now up there in that area.
Okay.
They have one that has like. Dude, you walk in and it's like a million sewing machines.
That's the one I went to.
But they have just boxes and sticks everywhere.
Yeah.
Oscar's in his old desk stringing. They do apparel. Do the stringing out
and
of there.
It's the custom apparel too. Like you send in your sizes, and they're sitting right there with the sewing, and they'll sew it all right there.
They do some stuff for Amazon out of their warehouse, which is really cool. So they do a lot of sew. They have this huge apparel machine in their shop that they hand built themselves.
Nice.
And it's a laser cutter for the fabric.
I think I've seen that. It's all the way in the back corner.
All the way in the back corner. It's really cool.
One of my films.
And then they have another warehouse that has like all their turf and shooting stuff like that.
So that's probably the one where he goes and does a little bit of filming of him shooting. Yeah, I've noticed that.
So I've been trying to work. I want to build a relationship with String King, like retail wise and stuff, but at this time they're just not interested.
And
but I'm hoping that because they're local too, they're Southern California, I would be nice to support or rep more of their stuff. You know what I mean?
Correct.
But I only do so much of their stuff
right now. And I don't know
now.
if they released it yet, or maybe they have, or maybe it's not even going to happen. But when I went there, I think it was 2020. Oscar and Trevor were kind of, I don't know if I should be saying this, but maybe it's not, like I said, it was 2 years ago, but I think they were coming out with a stick that they could put in Walmart. So it's like a beginner stick, not like a go to Dick's Sporting Goods. It's the one that's like an affordable stick where it's just a complete stick. You go to Walmart and buy it, and just so it's easier for the beginner kids. I don't think I've ever seen it, and I don't know if they actually got to that level or if they just said, no, let's just keep going to Dick's or something like that. Yeah. But I was like, man, that's actually a smart idea, because how many people go to Walmart to get stuff, fishing, bats, or anything, like just to get their kids into a sport? If they see that thing hanging on the shelf and they're like, why not lacrosse? Let's try that out.
Yeah.
So
yeah, especially for a kid's birthday party or something like that.
Right,
yeah. So
now with your social media, weren't you doing like a giveaway, or is that something you wanted to get into?
Yeah, we can get into that.
Absolutely.
So a couple months back, so this year, or I don't know how long I've been doing them, a couple years now, I've been doing these types of dyes that I haven't released on how to do them.
Okay.
So I guess I looked around a long time trying to see if someone else did them. So I'm pretty sure I invented it.
Okay, absolutely. Is it something you want to show, or no? You don't have to show.
So that's funny you say. So I've got there's two guys, and I'm not even going to mention names. Because then people would bombard them, because I do get bombarded every time I post one of those heads with that type of dye.
Okay.
People want to know how to do them.
Yeah.
And I understand that, and I think it's something that I will release soon or someday.
No, but you want to build your market up first on it.
So it's weird, because some people say don't ever show it. Even the guys who know how to do it.
Yeah.
They say, and I will, dude, I'll give them credit because they haven't leaked it or nothing. Some guys are like, don't ever show, that's yours. You should always have something held tight to the vest, right?
Yeah.
Or a technique or secrets or whatever. But and with that being said, I get that. At the same time, though, I do want to grow the game, and I want to see, like, if it's something that I did create, I want to see other people doing it, and I want to see people enjoying that.
Yeah.
And so at some point, I do think that I will release it, and we'll do a live or a YouTube video or anything on how to do it and let people just go at it.
Kind of
You know,
try
there's
it
all kinds
themselves.
of different, yeah. So during that time, though, we've basically perfected the colors and the types of dyes that
Now,
really
how long
take,
did it
and-
take you to actually, or like, I guess, what came up in your head to make you try to do this, or was it like an accident? You said, "Oh, let me try something out real quick," or how did it all come about?
Yeah,
or is
so-
that something you can even talk about?
I can say. So I think it was. Trying to think where I first seen it. It was art.
Okay.
I was studying some art, and I was like, okay. And I saw some techniques in art that I was like, oh,
See if I could transfer that over to a head
I
or
wonder if that
something.
would work.
Yeah.
And so I started messing around with that, and then I started, doing one color, and then I started doing 2 colors, 3 colors. So, and the timing of it, how long it takes to do each dye with that technique.
So you had to perfect it all to get it to where it is now.
Couple months, 3 to 6 months.
Yeah.
I had a color out. I'd be like, grab a head. I'd be like, oh, I'm gonna just do this head. And the dyes don't take long to do, but I would say they're more like
Technical, maybe?
technical.
Or, yeah.
Because it's not hard to do, but it's just time consuming. It's just like you just got to pay attention. When
Just
you're doing it.
take your time.
Take your time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so that's been probably 2 years now.
Nice.
And so we had a contest. I posted a bunch of them, and then we just did a name that dye contest.
Okay. So
And
pretty much
so-
you posted the head and you just
Said,
wanted people to come in.
What type of dye job is this? Name
Okay.
it. Some would say like marble or smoke cloud or whatever. So I actually have the winner here. So we'll announce it here.
And then do you want me to post this on the video?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
photo?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
yeah,
So
we can
I'll
post
get,
this on the
he'll send me
video.
the photos, guys, of what this dye is so you guys can actually see it in person, because when I hold it up to the cameras, you really don't really get the justice of it.
And so I personally was looking for kind of certain specific wording and what people would post. We had like 100 comments on there and of people. And I told them the contest was, if you can name this dye and we liked your name of it, I'll do a dye for you in that type.
Nice.
So you guys would do, anytime you wanted a new head, you would just send us the head. We'll do the dye job for free and, send it back to you.
Nice.
So I'll still, do that dye job for free for it here. And so I screenshotted the winner.
Now, when did you post this for?
This was a couple months back.
Okay.
And I've just been kind of like waiting, because every once in a while you'll get a new comment.
You'll get new stuff, yeah.
So I was just kind of waiting the best time to do it. I figured, this would be a great time
Nice.
to announce the winner
Awesome.
here on the podcast. And so the winner, I call it the radiation dye.
The radiation,
Yeah,
okay.
because it looks kind of like a radiation cloud. And I wanted to keep it zombie themed with the company. And so that's
Yeah.
kind of what I call it. We called it like smoke dyes for a while, or like water shimmers, depending if it was blue, kind of looked like a
Gotcha.
water shimmering. I always just call it radiation dye.
Yeah,
That's kind of what I always do.
That's probably the best name.
It's a good name and it
Yeah.
fits.
So the guy who
Drum roll.
drum roll, yeah. So there was two of them that I liked. So there's a guy.
I guess let's.
D.
Do you
Wade.
have three like top threes like you kind of came across?
Yeah,
I was
yeah,
gonna say
yeah.
let's name the top three
Okay,
like what you
let's
think it
name
is.
some here. Yeah,
And then I'll show the head before he names this guy, so you guys can kind of see what the head is. That way, it kind of all flows together. Of what
Yeah,
we're
let's go
talking
ahead
about.
and just. I'll pull up the post.
Yeah, just kind of name your top three of what you thought it was, and then kind of I guess give out who was the winner on that.
So yeah, I was named this dye technique. Rules was basically, it was super easy. It wasn't even like follow code. It was just comment and tag one friend.
There you go.
Right to rules. So one good one was refraction.
Okay,
That's a guy, I like that one a lot.
Yeah.
Actually.
Different. Yeah.
that's the stuff you look for, is the unique
Yeah.
like different stuff.
Something
like
that hit.
Yeah.
Like, oh yeah, it does like like shimmer,
Okay.
sunburst.
Sunburst. Yeah. I guess it just depends on the colors, probably,
Yeah, it's the
right? Because you
colors,
could do different
definitely.
multiple different colors on this one.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Definitely.
yeah.
You can do
So it
yellow,
just depends on
orange,
the-
red,
Okay.
black, gray. That's
Okay.
where you get like
So
smoke.
this is for a specific one, or did you post a bunch
I
of
just
different
posted
ones?
a bunch of them. Named the technique.
Okay.
What kind of technique? You
Gotcha.
know? Luminescence was
Oh,
one.
I like
Which
that.
is really cool. Smoke screen,
Nice.
oil paint,
Okay.
which is a good one. I was like, oh, that's a good one too. Oil paint. Kind of looks like an oil painting.
Gotcha.
Smog effect. Let's see here. Haze, storm cloud.
So you had some people all jumping in on
Yeah,
this one.
yeah.
That's nice.
Afterlife.
Okay.
Was a good one.
Okay.
So So actually, I was thinking of doing 2 giveaways. So that guy I think's one of them.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll do 2. I'll do 2.
There
How about
we go.
that? Since
There we
podcast.
go. I like the
Afterlife was a
Afterlife
really
because
good
it's like
one.
a zombie.
Yeah,
It's
yeah. Afterlife was really good.
Nice.
Ocean Fades.
Okay.
For like the blue ones, which was good. Zombie Smoke.
So that's what I'm saying. Each one probably could go with a certain head of the colors. It probably depends
a
on.
little bit. Yeah. So that's why I was like, okay.
That's cool how you can like leave it open, like leave it broad.
So open. So I
people
think
can,
anyone's
make a name for it.
make their own name.
Yeah,
for it,
absolutely.
You know? So mine's just that because it goes with our company. You know?
Yeah.
So see if there's any other. Solar Flare was kind of a good one for the yellow and red kind of colors.
Yeah, see, when you hear the names, like you want to see the colors so it kind of flows together.
Yeah. Frankenstein's. So,
Nice.
some good ones. So yeah, so those are the ones. So
like the top, I guess your top 2 was
we'll go
the
top
Aftermath.
2 was the Afterlife.
Or Afterlife. I said
Yep.
Aftermath. What
And
is this?
his,
Tupac?
his name is Elliot Fry. So at Elliot Fry,
Okay.
you win a dye job by
Congrats
me
to
with
you,
that.
Elliot.
And
Congrats.
then, so I'll be in contact with you once this podcast release. And then the other one that I liked was Dye of the Undead.
Dying on the Undead.
Dye of the Undead.
I like that.
I really like such a good
And
name.
it's like both of them go straight with your company too.
Yeah. So his name is, let me find him here real quick.
So we have Elliot and
Elliot Fry is the first one, and then the other guy's name was D-Wake95. D-Wake 95. So you two
congrats
guys
to you
win.
guys. That's
I'll do,
awesome.
2 free dye job for you guys when you guys need a new head done.
Nice.
And then we'll talk about.
And obviously, when
colors.
this podcast released, obviously the news will be already out. Obviously, I'm gonna try to release this as soon as possible. As soon as we're done here, I'm gonna get on the computer and edit it and try to get it out this weekend. But I greatly appreciate you coming on, Shane. This is so awesome, man.
So for having us on, though, I brought you some gifts.
Oh,
so
here we go, guys.
Yeah, I brought you one of our herd T-shirts.
Let me take a look at
So
that.
you can take a look at that logo.
Look
That
at
one's
that
been
color too.
That's been our most probably
The
popular
color? Yeah.
That teal color is just
That's
hit
so
home
soft,
with
too.
the. What's funny is people actually ask about doing that T-shirt in hot pink. With
Like
their
guys or just the
guys,
girls? Really?
Yeah. So I got
Really?
it. That's like.
Okay. I mean, I
that's
could.
the next color.
You have that color in
that
there.
same color in our
Nice.
logo.
Okay.
So I just think, every time I put out like white or black or gray T-shirts,
Yeah.
they all come back to once again the company colors.
Correct.
They all want us. I don't know if it's
Well,
just
I mean,
something
it all
that
depends on
sticks
too,
out.
probably like the season, like if it's a spring or a fall or
I don't know. Yeah,
maybe
that's
people
so-
just want that color all year
Yeah.
round. No,
so
this
one
is
thing
I
that's
love
really
that. Thank
cool
you.
is I find that the parents more than the players and the kids like the whole theme and logo
Okay.
more than the players. Like the parents are just like the ones that are all in with the
absolutely.
theme and the logo. That's what's crazy.
And that's
So-
funny too. Like any of the tournaments and stuff like that. Usually, if the parents walking up, they at least have 1 or 2 kids with them, and for sure they want to buy something.
Yeah.
That's what's cool about the tournaments.
Yeah, so they always walk by and the kids like stop.
Yeah.
They basically stop, and I tell the parents, I was like, "Hey, I'm sorry."
Yeah.
Like their kids spend all weekend there
Yeah.
looking for a head.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, they come 5 or 6 times. They'll be back at the booth.
Now, I mean, before we
You know?
start getting to that next one,
But-
you started off with like 3 heads on the table. Like, I guess what's your probably numbers now? Like today or at the Sandstorm, how much heads did you have all done from you?
Complete heads.
It doesn't have to be
Yeah,
complete,
like-
just anything you had on the table
man,
for
I don't even know, 80.
Wow.
That we would have, maybe 20 or 30 for the girls, and then 60 for the boys.
Yeah. Look
at
something
that.
like that. And then we have a whole bin.
They're just-
of,
yeah, you
I always
restock
keep a
it.
whole bin of unstrung heads.
Oh, yeah.
Because people like to string themselves, and maybe
Correct.
they haven't seen that head yet. Like the new Ion heads.
Yeah.
Those are hard to get in the store. So I had 5 or 6 at my booth, and then they would just buy them unstrung,
go.
and they go string them for themselves.
Nice.
Or they'd have me string it or whatever. So I have a whole bin of unstrung heads that hold probably 30 or 40, and I just have it open so people can rummage through it.
Oh, absolutely.
And so yeah, I would say now we're at any tournament like 60 to 80 heads.
There you guys go. If you're at any
Compared to
tournament
3.
and you guys, Shane or Lax Zombie Dyes guys, go check out his booth, man.
Yeah.
Go,
So-
that's a big difference. Change
It's a
from
huge-
3
yeah.
to where you're at now, dude.
So what I would do
Congrats.
is I'd sell those 3. I bought 6. I sold those 6. I bought 12.
There you
or
go.
10.
Yep.
Sold those 10. I bought 20.
Nice.
And just kind of everything for the first 2 to 3 years was 100% invested back into the company.
Nice.
Never did
Pocket
I
any
pocket
yeah,
nothing. It
that's
was
the way to do it.
100% developed develop it and stuff like that too. So, and then also I brought you Fax Break Lacrosse colored blue and white, our 3D printed buttons. These are probably the best thing that we ever developed.
Yeah, because I remember you gave me a blue, or a blue one off it when you went live one time. I think it was something about I think your favorite football team. I think it
something
was
like that.
Yeah, and I won one of those. So, and I think I did a giveaway with one of them too, or I won that and I gave it away to somebody else that was a supporter of it, just to kind of get you out there.
Sam one too. I think when you did your player
you did.
giveaway.
Yeah. Yes, you did.
You have those.
Let me take a look at these guys. And they can find these all on your website, right?
Yeah, all this stuff's on my website.
And then
a lot of these heads too, like these heads, not yet. I've kept all the art heads, but people do want to start. I think purchasing some of this stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna probably create a little art section on my website to where people can buy these high-end heads as displays, or they might want them in their house or lacrosse case or whatever.
And then if they don't know, obviously, your website or Instagram, where can they find you or message you to get what you need done?
So our name is the same across all social media and website. So it's just Lax Zombie Dyes, and Dyes is DYES to play off of that. Dyes and then Dyes. So it's just Lax Zombie Dyes across all social media and our website.
Awesome. Hey, I appreciate you coming on, brother. Just seeing, like I said, when we first started back in the day, when we first met to where you are now, you're killing it.
I appreciate
and
that.
And I guess I see big things coming in the future, man. Now that you're coaching and then you have all this and you're 100% committed now, and just you got good things coming, man. You're in a good spot. And I definitely appreciate you reaching out to me to come on this podcast, because this whole podcast was new to me, and obviously it was nerve-wracking to see if anybody was even want to come. And I remember you just messaging me, and I was just like, all right, and I said this in the beginning, when I first started doing the YouTube vlogging, I was at the San Diego Seals versus the Colorado Mammoth out here at the Orleans. I think it was probably the NLL's test to see if they should bring.
Exactly.
Yeah, so and that's how the Desert Dogs came. But Shane was one of the first, I guess, guests on my vlogs, and he brought, I think, the ball stops. Yeah. That's what it was back then. Yeah, the ball stops, and then now here he is, the first guest on my podcast.
That's awesome. No, I like I said, I love seeing you continue doing what you want to do.
I just love being back, dude.
Yeah,
I love being
coming back, and I think it's great. I think it's something that's going to be needed. I love the fact that, like we talked about, how you want your podcast to be more of the type of people who do this kind of stuff day to day, not necessarily more of the famous line of people, even though I'm sure you'll get those people on too. But having guests like me,
correct,
who are smaller but kind of do the in and out of lacrosse
exactly,
every day.
Because nobody understands like what it takes to do all this, unless they're big dyers or something out there. But you guys don't understand. If you guys see him at a booth or anything like that, go check out all his work, guys. It's phenomenal. It is ridiculous. And now, Nash, you're going to be starting high school. Yeah. You're a little nervous for that for a freshman,
really nervous, yeah.
Yeah. And you're going to be doing Fogo or just facing off, or what you?
I'm going to try to stay on, because I don't like Fogos, because like, I don't know, you just get off. I want to. You want to
play.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You want to play the game. Yeah. So
my dad always says I'm a Foso. Face off, stay on.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Absolutely. So I appreciate you guys coming out, and I hope your daughter's cheer and everything is going great, and safe travels with all these tournaments, man. Like I said, I'm going to try to get out to as much tournaments as I can. I'm just slowly building up my apparel again, and I got tents coming, and I'm trying to get back with you guys again, and hopefully I'll see you around. I'll definitely be out in San Diego in the next couple months.
Yeah, for sure. Hit us up if you're out there.
Absolutely.
And then we'll support you any way we can.
Absolutely. I appreciate you, brother.
All right,
Thank you so
thanks,
much,
man. Yeah.